Hey guys, welcome back. It's a chilly Sunday afternoon here. You can see by the headgear I've got going. I just had an incident with a bear. I'm at Wood Lake right now. I'll show you in a moment exactly where I'm going to start fishing. And I was, a little while ago, I was out of my vehicle making an inglorious attempt at cardio. Got a long way to go on that boy. And two different locations, got out of the car, went for a little jog, warmed down, walked back to the car. And after the second one, as I was driving away, there's a big bear in a field not too far from where I was doing this. And they kind of stand up on their hind haunches to get a look what's in the area. And there's big boy black bear very close to where I had just been jogging, alone on this remote road here, just outside Kelowna. That's where I was. That's 15 minutes from downtown Kelowna with this bear going. So I'm going to start with this right here at Wood Lake. I'm a 10-minute drive from my home. I'll give you a little non-jarring pan. What's on offer? I always thought this was Okanagan Lake, but there's a sign right there that says Wood Lake, so it's got to be Wood Lake. I don't know. There's so many around, you kind of lose track. This is where I'm fishing for a few minutes. There was an eagle a moment ago, but so far no bears. So keep you posted. No luck with lure number one, so I'm after a second one here. And I look like something out of a horror movie. Speaking of horror movies, we haven't talked about my latest Screenplay much lately. It's really coming along, really developing. The stories kind of formulate in my head, as I mentioned in previous scripts. I don't know where any of this stuff comes from. I don't want to know, but it's a process that I feel very fortunate. That's my second one, by the way. I've had luck with that. Or this version of the lure, not necessarily this particular one. So, because I look like a spooky character right now, the Screenplay Little Sister is really taking on a life of its own. A lot of surreal, a lot of bizarre, a lot of sexuality has come into it, which tends to happen with many of my stories. And the main character may not necessarily even be the guy I initially intended to be the main character, because there's another character, his friend and fellow Elvis impersonator, is starting to become a really fascinating individual as this stuff is formulating in my mind. My little Betsy pair there. So it is coming along. I'm making notes consistently, rough notes consistently on it, and I kind of have the whole thing already in my head, but it's nowhere near what it was initially. And that's a wonderful aspect of the process for some, I guess, for me anyway. One little interesting thing, there's a serial killer at work in this horror script, and the killer is one of the characters in the story, obviously, in the screenplay. And I don't know at this point who it is, but it's one of them, one of the main characters that I've been looking into. And part of what the serial killer's process is to carve these symbols into his victims. And it's come to light that these symbols are, I don't know the pronunciation, S-I-G-I-L, sigil or sigils for demons, demonic entities. And he's leaving these sigils, whatever they are, I don't know, as sort of a calling card or something. I don't know what that's going to be yet, but I had an interesting experience where I was researching these symbols because I don't know anything about this stuff, and there's a professor character in this script that is an expert on this stuff, and he's researching it as well. And I was researching it as I was formulating the rough notes for this scene and this aspect of things. And you're basically texting a demon is the best way I can think of if you're one of these people who wants to communicate with these supposed entities. I wouldn't recommend it, I'll be honest with you. I don't do it. I don't go near any of this stuff. But I was researching it, and there was just a little rock slide right there. Some rocks came down. It's funny this happens when I'm talking about this, because when I was researching it, I was sitting in my apartment, and there's a light right by the door. Hand to God. The light did a little and went off behind me as I was researching these demonic symbols, and how people who might be motivated to do so, as in lunatic serial killers, would encompass that into their lives, or attempted communication with apparent demonic entities. The light behind me in my apartment really creepily ticked off, without me doing it, very obviously, while I was researching these things. So it was a creepy little moment in my research for this screenplay. And there is an eagle that's... There he is. Hang on. I don't know if you can get him there. Anyway, there's an eagle that's accosting the nests of the birds across the street here. And he is consequently being deterred by the other birds. It's a bit of a show going on here. I'll let you know as soon as I catch a fish or I get another inspiration regarding the screenplay that I'm working on. In this situation I was just describing in the previous clip, where I'm researching demonic symbols and how they're used by people who are into this stuff, and for whatever reason give this any energy or interest. And while I'm in the midst of that, in my apartment, the lights turn off behind me. I mean, you could call that kind of a creepy moment. Like, what the hell's that all about? You know, you're looking at these demon symbols and how you might call or communicate with these demons, and you have this really strange moment in your apartment where the lights click off on their own, and I could hear the light switch itself, you know, did a little, and then the lights went off. It wasn't just the lights went off, there was an audible, and the switch in that part of my apartment. I'm clearing the weeds off my lure, by the way. And the switch in that part of my apartment went from on to off, and then the lights went off. So it was a little creepy, right? This thing that happened while I was working on this latest horror screenplay that I'm working on, called Little Sister. It was a little creepy. Nothing compared to what the movie's gonna do, though. The movie's gonna scare the crap out of you. Little sister, don't you? Yeah, it was a little creepy. I'm researching this demonic circumstance because there's a character in my latest screenplay who's, I don't know, thinks he's dialed into this stuff in some way. Maybe he is, who knows. And I have a kind of a weird, unexplained thing happen in my apartment just as I'm looking at these demonic symbols. Sigil? I don't know how you pronounce it. Involving something that seems, at the moment anyway, to be the result of something else. being there. I'm just messing with you guys. I'm in the zone to creep out. But that did happen, the thing with the light. Anyway, let me catch a little fish. In a previous thing, because I'm in the zone to creep you out, I talk about how if you're backcountry at all and you hear something, footfalls, anything that isn't you, you hear something, you pay attention. Not a couple hours ago, I was out jogging. Well, trying to jog. It's a sad display, I'll tell you that. Right now, anyway. Getting there, but it's not impressive at this point. Get back in my car, drive 50 meters, and there's a pretty good-sized bear. Right there, he's in the field, up on his hind haunches. That's a big bear I'm looking at, too. So, yeah, you pay attention. And that's 10 minutes outside downtown Kelowna, where I was, and I saw this bear. Not expecting a bear that close to downtown, but in this part of the world, that's how things go. Anyway, I'm going to catch some dinner and carry on with my spooky screenplay ramblings here.